Khalisha groaned as she placed the white plastic stick on the counter. Two bright pink plus signs in both boxes popped up the moment her piss touched the stick. She placed the pregnancy test down again and reread the instructions 3 times. She was stuck on the part where it suggested waiting 7 minutes before reading the result. She hoped this meant it might change. Hoped there was a chance the test could be wrong. She paced the marble bathroom so much the cold tile floor had become warm beneath her feet. Just as she sat on the toilet, her phone timer went off, beeping frantically as if it prompted her heart to do the same. She held her breath as she stood against the wall and peered down at the stick. After seeing the positive result pop up again, she yelled even louder, tossing the test so hard it broke in 2 pieces. She should have been excited. This was the moment most women dream of. But her first thought wasn't baby names or nursery colors. It was, how could I have been so careless? How do you know you married the right person? Somewhere between I do and is this it? The questions begin. Not always out loud, sometimes in silence, sometimes in traffic, sometimes in the stillness right before the light turns green. Nicole was married, but in the back of her mind, every single day, she wondered if she had married the wrong man. She never said it out loud, not even in her sleep. But some mornings when the traffic barely moved and the fog hung low over the Bay Bridge, she'd whisper it to herself, just to see how it sounded. Did I make the wrong choice? Or worse, there's someone else I'm supposed to be with. That was the thought that crept in on mornings like this, when the podcast was the only thing keeping her from cussing out every idiot inching between lanes, risking their lives just to move a few feet ahead. She tapped the steering wheel with her bold red nails and turned up the volume. The divine route has its own process, one designed to guide us gently toward our final merge. The host's voice hummed through her speakers. It's a finely tuned mechanism that knows exactly when to urge us forward, slow us down, bring us to a complete stop, or redirect us entirely. Nicole exhaled. It was comforting how the words always met her exactly where she was. When we heed the warnings, follow the rhythm, and remain aware of the drivers around us, we move with divine timing. The host continued, her voice velvet smooth and maddeningly calm. But the moment we veer off course, usually from impatience, we invite collisions, detours, and wrong turns. That's when congestion begins. Nicole smirked bitterly and let her eyes flick across the cluster of brake lights in front of her. Congestion. What a perfect fucking word for this mess. Nicole's mind drifted. There's someone for everyone, her mama used to say. She'd say it in response to everything Nicole complained about growing up. her looks, her weight, her sharp tongue. Don't go changing yourself, baby. Your soulmate might not recognize you. She used to roll her eyes at that, but now she wondered if her mother had been right all along. Her mom had an eerie sense for pairing people. Everyone said so. Nicole had always hoped her mom would give her a knowing look the day she brought Darius home. Some quiet confirmation that he was the one. But her mom passed just months before that ever happened. And now, she didn't know what she believed. Darius sat in his Skyview corner office, staring at the fog-drenched skyline, typing his 20th apology letter to Nicole. The tension of their latest argument still buzzed in his head. He had forgotten her birthday again for the third year in a row. He needed her to understand that his demanding job consumed every part of him, even the corners where light couldn't reach. Spending entire days buried in numbers made him numb to connection. He barely spoke to his mom anymore. The work bled into weekends. The deadlines never let up. So when he came home with a briefcase full of client files and his office iPad instead of flowers or a card, Nicole didn't even yell. She just walked out and stayed gone all night. He pressed send, then closed the tab and told his assistant to book a reservation at the most expensive restaurant in the city. He also ordered 6 Van Cleef necklaces in a variety of colors, a bouquet of long-stemmed roses, and a Neiman Marcus gift card, her favorite store. It was a ridiculous bill, but Nicole was worth every dime. He wanted her to feel seen, cared for, loved. Deep down in the quiet corners of his heart, he wondered if this was guilt disguised as affection. He thought love would thaw out the frozen parts of his heart, but the numbness never went away. And in moments like this, quiet, removed, hollow, he sometimes wondered what life without Nicole would look like. They'd been together so long, they had become more like decorations in each other's lives. But honestly, they never learned how to depend on each other. They were too independent, too self-contained. And in the end, that didn't bring them closer. It pushed them apart. Khalisha groaned as she placed the white plastic stick on the counter. 2 bright pink plus signs in both boxes popped up the moment her piss touched the stick. She placed the pregnancy test down again and reread the instructions 3 times. She was stuck on the part where it suggested waiting 7 minutes before reading the result. She hoped this meant it might change. Hoped there was a chance the test could be wrong. She paced the marble bathroom so much the cold tile floor had become warm beneath her feet. Just as she sat on the toilet, her phone timer went off, beeping frantically as if it prompted her heart to do the same. She held her breath as she stood against the wall and peered down at the stick. After seeing the positive result pop up again, she yelled even louder, tossing the test so hard it broke in two pieces. She should have been excited. This was the moment most women dream of. But her first thought wasn't baby names or nursery colors. It was, how could I have been so careless? Hassan sat in his car outside of his and Khalisha's home, gripping the steering wheel, trying to remember the version of Khalisha he fell in love with. She used to be carefree, laughing until she snorted, doing little dances in the kitchen when she cooked. Now she barely looked at him, and when she did, it was with resentment in her eyes and coldness in her tone. He hadn't been the perfect husband in the beginning, but he was doing all he could to fix it. For a while, he felt like she wanted him to, needed him to. But at some point, she stopped caring. She stopped trying, stopped loving him. The smallest things turned into big things, which led to her moving out of their bedroom and clocking out of their marriage. Last night, he asked her what he could do to fix it, and she replied, I don't think I want you to. So coldly it chilled him. He got so angry he punched a hole in the cream stucco wall next to their bedroom door. Khalisha locked herself in the bathroom and refused to deal with him when he got like that. So, he'd gone to the car where he now sat, playing an old Al Jarreau album to calm his nerves. Their marriage was in limbo and he struggled to find the silver lining. As tenderness started to play, he reclined the cold leather seat, turned his head toward the window and thought to himself, is this love? Zahra lay on her side of the bed, wide awake as Khalil snored softly beside her. The sex was always good, passionate, intense, consistent. But afterward, he always rolled over, said good night, and shut down like a computer powering off. They never talked anymore. It was all surface level, all physical. She missed being seen by him. Felt like an object, not a woman with thoughts, feelings, and a soul. She wanted depth. She wanted his mind. But every time she tried to talk about anything real, he made a joke or changed the subject. And she knew he had faked it. She didn't feel the sticky, loose residue of her husband's release this time. It had happened multiple times in the last week. Even after amazing, intense sessions where he claimed to climax and turned over to sleep. But she knew he didn't. She could tell. And deep down, she knew it was because he knew what she had done. So every night, she lay next to a man who lied because she held a secret of her own. Khalil opened his eyes and watched Zahra's nude silhouette toss and turn. Her sternum rose and fell as she slept. Her large breasts swayed every time she moved, only turning him on more as he ran his fingers through her long, layered locks. Her full lips parted and closed gently as she breathed. Her deep chocolate skin glistened, some areas still slick from his saliva. The memory of their long love-making session was still fresh. Her beauty had him in awe of her, as it always did, even still after 15 years together. She was a true vision of beauty under the moonlit lighting of their high-rise condo. In the lullaby of the city's subtle song, a painful truth returned. He had fallen for a beautiful liar, one who deceived seamlessly. He lay his head on her supple breast, caressed her arm, and thought to himself, "Are we gonna make it after this?" Orion screamed as he snatched his keys off the side table near the front door of their modern luxury home. Brianna grabbed a ceramic vase and launched it toward him, but he slammed the door just in time. It shattered against the hardwood floor, water, shards, and a dozen pink peonies crashing down violently. "My favorite vase!" she yelled as she dropped to her knees, cleaning the mess while still fussing at herself like he could hear her. "Maybe if you could stay hard for longer than 5 seconds, I wouldn't be so tense," she muttered under her breath. She grabbed the towel from the laundry room, tossed it over the puddle by the door, then snatched her car keys. As she whipped open the door, she saw Orion still in the driveway, on the phone, shouting obscenities about her, probably venting to one of his friends. She stormed toward him, blind with rage, barely missing a pile of dog crap by inches. Gripping the car door handle, she yanked it open and reached for his keys, yelling at the top of her lungs. But Orion knocked her hand away before she could grab them. Her hand slammed against the steering wheel so hard it vibrated. That made her even angrier. She began ripping things apart. The visor mirror, gone. The lid of the center console, snatched. The sunblock in the driver's seat, thrown. Just as she went for the phone holder on the dashboard, he started the car. The engine roared, and with her body halfway in, she lost her balance. She tumbled out violently, hitting the ground with a sickening thud. Her back slammed into the concrete brick lining the driveway. She couldn't move. Her leg was scraped and bloody. Her back stung so bad it made her dizzy. And to make matters worse, her head of thick, coiled, shoulder-length hair had landed directly in that pile of dog crap she missed earlier. Brianna lay on the ground, bruised, humiliated, in pain. The sun beamed down, warm and unbothered, shining directly in her teary eyes. "Happy birthday to me," she snickered bitterly. "You gotta go back and check if she's okay," Terry said through the phone as Orion merged onto the freeway. "No point now," Orion muttered, switching lanes like a madman, heart pounding with the leftover rage. "Bro, go check on your wife." "Nah, that woman's head so hard she could take a brick to the skull and not flinch," Orion said. "She's so damn independent and don't need nobody. Cool, let her figure out how to get off the damn ground." Terry let him vent. That's what they did for each other. Orion had listened to Terry rant about his girl more times than he could count. Tonight, it was Orion's turn. He raged on, cursing Brianna's name and her great-grandmother's stillborn. He was that mad. Orion was an alpha. So was Brianna. And when they fought hard. Pride always came first. Neither of them ever wanted to be the one to fold. They fought everywhere. Family gatherings, kids' birthday parties, vacations, grocery stores, even funerals. But Orion was tired, so tired. They didn't agree on anything, not even what position to have sex in. As they got older, he tried to be more flexible. But Brianna saw that as weakness, used it as permission to push him until he exploded. Every conversation felt like a lecture. Every compromise was met with criticism. Nothing ever felt soft or safe or sacred. He pulled over. His tires screeched against the curb. His heart was still racing. He leaned back against the headrest, eyes burning as the sun dipped low across the city skyline. In the rearview mirror, he caught a glimpse of himself. His face looked twisted. His lips curled down, eyebrows pinched so tightly they nearly touched. The vein in his neck throbbed, his shirt soaked in sweat from the rage boiling inside of him. He didn't recognize himself. Who was this man? This bitter, angry, reckless man who sped away from his own wife, pushed her out of the car, and didn't even turn back. He didn't know who he had become, and he didn't know what that meant. All he could do was sit there, stare at his reflection, and let a single tear fall from the corner of his eye. "Babe," Simone said as she gently nudged Isaac's arm. "Can you scratch my back a little? I've got an itch." She rolled over, blanket slipping down as she turned away from him. He scratched absently at her shoulders until she shifted to guide his hand lower. "Right there?" he asked. "Yeah, a little harder," she answered, her tone playful. She leaned closer, expecting him to read between the lines. The tension in the room was heavy, but he stayed still. Simone took a deep breath, her frustration growing. It had been months since they'd shared real closeness. Not even a kiss on her neck, not even a moment of passion. Just a quiet good night and the sound of him pulling his blanket over himself. She missed being wanted. She missed being seen. Lately, she caught herself questioning everything, her body, her laugh, even her worth as a partner. And the longer it went on, the more she wondered if anyone else might notice her, even though she'd never crossed that line. That night, as Isaac turned his back to her once again, she excused herself. She told herself it was fine, but deep down, she felt invisible. Isaac hadn't meant for things to get this way. He loved Simone deeply, but somehow along the way, his body stopped keeping up with his heart. Stress, maybe? Or something physical he didn't understand. Every time she looked at him with that hope in her eyes, he panicked. He'd pretend to be asleep or find a way to avoid it. Not because he didn't want her, but because he was terrified of letting her down. The more pressure he felt, the harder it became. So he avoided it. But he knew the cost. He could see the sadness in her eyes, hear it in her silence. And even though he knew it wasn't her fault, she was starting to believe it was. He wanted to fix it, He just didn't know how. Malaika sat at the edge of their couch, remote in hand but not really watching the TV. Dinner plates were still on the coffee table. Edges lay just right, but her jaw was tight. She hadn't been able to relax all day. Tyrell was in the kitchen leaning against the counter, FaceTiming his mama for the third time today. It wasn't that Malaika hated his mother. At first, she'd even tried to win her over, but years of slick comments, cold stares, and showing up in places she didn't belong had drained her patience. Holidays, birthdays, even arguments that had nothing to do with her, his mama always found a way to slide herself in. And Tyrell, he never checked her, not once. Whenever she says something slick, you just let it slide, Malaika had told him before. She don't mean no harm, he'd always reply. But she did mean harm. The shade wasn't accidental. Just this morning, his mama had whispered, "Hope you can hold this house down better than your mama did hers." When Malaika repeated it to Tyrell, he chuckled. Like she was being dramatic, like her hurt was funny. Now, Malaika sat on the couch, her husband in the kitchen telling his mama good night, like she was the one he shared a bed with. Tyrell stared at his reflection in the dark TV screen after hanging up, phone still in his hand. His mama had been running her mouth as usual, and he just went along with it. But in the corner of his eye, he saw the way Malaika had looked at him earlier, like she couldn't even recognize the man she married. He hated being in the middle. He loved his mama. She raised him alone, worked 2 jobs, held him down when nobody else did. He owed her everything. So when she threw little jabs at Malaika, he brushed them off. That was just mama. She earned her place. But lately, he was starting to wonder if the place she was taking was his wife's. He replayed the moment from earlier when his mama whispered in Malaika's ear and Malaika froze, her whole body shutting down. He hadn't meant to laugh. It wasn't funny. He was just nervous, unsure of what to say without making it worse. Now, looking at his tired reflection, one question echoed louder than the rest. Was his loyalty to his mother slowly costing him his marriage? As these couples sat in their separate corners of silence, some aching for touch, some craving respect, some begging for peace, the weight of their choices pressed heavy. Different houses, different problems, but the same traffic. Love wasn't flowing, it was stalled. Every whispered doubt, every slammed door, every lonely night was proof of what happens when emotions, pride, and fear pile up on the same road. Congestion. And the longer it lingers, the tighter it gets. One wrong turn becomes 2. A delay becomes a deadlock, and before long, You can't tell if you're standing still or if you ever moved at all. This is where most couples live, stuck in emotional traffic, knowing where they want to go, but unable to get there. But sometimes the real slowdown isn't the road itself, it's the bottleneck. And on the divine route, some will fight through the congestion and stay their course. Others will realize it's time to take a detour. Tune in next week to see which couples can clear their lane and which will have no choice but to exit.
I wanna take you back, but I can't. I wanna leave you behind, but I can't. It's not easy to love you, darling. It's not easy to love you, darling. I should love you in the moment. I should tell you all the problems. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. It's not easy to love you, baby. You just run, you don't talk, and